You know what's funny about using the drill arm against this boss? I'm fighting a robot with a drill arm. I'm a fighting robot with a drill arm. I think it's funny.
What gives? I dig and I'm still nowhere near the bottom.
How far down do these elevators go? Wow.
Maybe we will need that key after all.
Master Teasel, we will...
Pay no attention to the graphical glitch in the lower left.
Boy is heading this way.
He's coming. All right, everyone, quit digging. Our priority now is to get rid of our little blue friend, all right? Be careful and don't be fooled by his size. He's already beaten Bon and Tron. Let's do it.
Roger.
So this boss fight has quite a bit to unpack. The weak point of this robot is the hatch on the back of its head, which you'll have to jump to get to. However, to make this a little easier, we're gonna shoot out and destroy the treads of the robot. Well, actually, the game suggests shooting out the treads, but I'm gonna drill them. Even though this is still highly impractical. This attack, by the way, the one with the green balls, get used to those green balls. The Bonds, they love those green balls for some reason. I have no idea why. So yeah, drills against the treads. Works pretty nicely. Does quite a bit of damage. So now that the robot is slower, it'll be easier to jump on the back of its head and shoot the hatch when it opens. You actually don't need to destroy the treads, but, you know, anything to make this just a little bit easier. So get rid of this tank, it's going to be in the way. And I didn't mention this before, but the best way to avoid the green ball attack is actually to do a tumble dodge. You do a tumble dodge by holding L1 or R1 and jumping. Gets you out of the way very quickly, very useful. By the way, you can shoot the surf bots too, in case you hadn't noticed. So I'm going to jump on the back of the hatch. Of course, the robot's not going to let you just shoot the hatch willy-nilly. You've got to watch out for not only this flying bomb attack, but you've got to watch out for the hand taking a swipe at you as well. It's actually a pretty neat little boss battle. This is one of the ones that you can't circle strafe, unfortunately. But then again, if you could circle strafe all your problems, then I don't even know why I would play it anymore. So, one more attack that this thing has is a Servbot coming out of the hatch and throwing a bomb at you. Which is what it's going to do in a couple of seconds here. If you shoot at the Servbot, it will actually fall back inside the robot, and the bomb will do extra damage. And as you can see, the drill arm, if you poke a drill in the hatch, it does extra damage somehow. Quite a bit. And I apologize for interrupting the best line of voice acting in probably the entire game, but, you know. Kinda got through that fight a little quicker than I would have liked. So let's see if I can score some extra Zenny off this tank. No, the cutscene took over before I could grab the Zenny.
How much does he think it cost to build that in the first place? I'm gonna get him. If it's the last thing I ever do, I'm gonna get him.
Master Teasel, are you alright? Master Teasel?
You know, I think Teasel would have had a much easier time if he had just realized he could have chopped off a part of the elevator shaft and gotten in the ruins that way. Or even just destroy the door. You don't need a key. And you don't need to dig a giant hole if you just, like... Oh well, I guess it's not important now.
Time to go home.
Are you scratching the back of your head with a giant drill? That's gotta be dangerous. Yeah, the cutscenes in this game, even after you get the helmet... Oh gosh, I forgot to mention the helmet mechanics. Oh well. This game actually takes off Mega Man's helmet once you get one for him. For cutscenes. Just for cutscenes.
Something real important she has to talk with you about. Can you come back here?
No!
I wonder if something's wrong with this radio. I thought I just heard you say you're not going? Mega Man, you'll go see the mayor, right?
Roger. I'll head back to City Hall.
I'm not even sure why the option was there. I just chose it because why not?
If only we'd known there was someone like him here in the first place.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
We'll ambush, concentrate our firepower on him. We won't cut him any slack just because we outnumbered him. That kid's going down.
Just wait till you see, Teasel. I've got a new robot I've been wanting to build that'll do the trick. That'll teach him.
This time, we get rid of Blue Boy for sure, and get that treasure!
You don't need me to subtitle that, do you?
Mega Man, good going! You showed those pirates who's boss!
How can I thank you? You've done so much for us. I hope this will convince those pirates to give up. I'm afraid to think what might happen if they get their hands on the treasure. The legends say a horrible disaster will occur if it's ever unearthed. Even if that's just a myth, lately we've been detecting increased activity underground. The Reaverbots are apparently activating of their own accord.
Wait, they're Reaverbots. Don't they do that anyways?
Maybe there's some truth to those stories about a horrible
I guess there are just more of them,
I
or...
wonder.
How exactly do the Reaverbots replenish their numbers? Because I go underground and destroy them pretty often. No.
What? And you call yourself a digger? How can you turn down an offer like that?
Look at his face, man. He really doesn't want to.
You will? Oh, thank you so much. Here, you'll need this.
Oh, there's that phrase again.
Only the best diggers are able to get a Class A license. The best of the best.
Oh yeah, just
That
you wait
license,
until Legends
you'll be
2.
able to get into the sealed-off sites. The ones those pirates have been trying to break into. I give you my permission to dig in the island's subgates. Just let me know if you find anything that can tell us about the treasure, or that disaster that's supposed to happen if the treasure's disturbed. And I hate to mention this, but
But you're going to anyways.
if you find anything of value, it would mean a lot to us if you could donate it to help with the restoration of the city. Thank you again. Be careful.
So yeah, the more damage the town takes, the more money it's gonna cost to repair the buildings. Again, only the police station and the bank actually matter for side quest purposes, but it doesn't cost all that much. The city only took like 7,600 zenny worth of damage, so I'm just going to pay back all of it, and I'm not going to subject you to all of that menu jazz. But there is a unique line for if all of the repairs are completed, like, before you even step out of the building the first time. So a thing I forgot to mention during the boss battle is that battle, it took place in an area with a lot of cliffs. If you get hit and you get shoved off a cliff, there's a chance Mega Man will hit his head on the ground. If that happens, you actually take additional damage. If you have a helmet, you can prevent that additional damage, but I haven't developed one yet. That's what the safety helmet in that little box on the plains was for, by the way. So, our new goal is to enter the 3 subgates, which we can only enter one of at the moment. I don't know why the game acts like we have a choice of where to go, because 2 of them are blocked off. One of them was on top of that giant pillar where the pirates were digging, so we clearly can't get up there yet. And the other one is out on the lake. And that's a problem because we don't have a way to get out onto the lake right now, so that leaves the one over in the forest. But when you get the Class A license, 2 more areas in town open up, and one of them has a couple of mini-games in it, so clearly we should go and do that first. You know, if there's an RPG, guaranteed we will get sidetracked by mini-games, side quests. Interesting to note that side quests in Mega Man Legends, apart from the mini-games, don't really have anything to do with the combat system, which is a little weird, but hey, you know, interacting with the world is as good as combat in an RPG. Anyhow, we're in Uptown. Why is it called Uptown? I guess because it's not downtown? Anyhow, if you go dumpster diving one more time, you can find a broken propeller, which is an item we need to make a special weapon later. So all of the minigames take place at the TV station. So that's what we're going to go and do. There are a couple of weapon components that you can get if you win the minigames. And one of the minigames actually uses your buster, so it's actually a pretty good idea to have a good buster part loadout. It's a good thing I got that auto battery. It actually makes the minigame very easy. So apparently we've been signed up for a game show without even knowing it. And this show is called Dangerous Games. But do they have the most dangerous game? Apparently so, because we are going to play the kicking a dog in the face with a beach ball game. So this minigame makes use of the kick. What you have to do is kick these beach balls at the dog, but don't kick them at the man. So the gimmick of these minigames is that each time you win one, they decide to increase the difficulty by requiring a higher score. Oh, by the way, in this game, if you kick a ball at the flashing dog, you get a bonus point. And if you kick the dog at the dog, you get a bonus point. And if you kick the dog at a flashing dog, you get 2 bonus points. So you need to win this 4 times in order to get a special item. But I'm only going to show you it 2 times because honestly, this is the most boring minigame to watch. You just have to... It always lasts 30 seconds exactly, and if you play like I am right now, just kicking at the exact moments that I am, you will always win. You can actually kick the ball in different directions if you move left or right, or I guess use Mega Man's right leg instead of his left leg, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. Staying in your initial position and, I guess, kicking as many balls as possible, because the dogs that you kick at the dogs... they always come every 5 kicks, so you might as well just kick as much as you can to get to them as quickly as you can. Or you could just mimic what I did. So we won the Zet Saber, which is supposed to be the Z Saber from Mega Man X, but I guess somebody on the UK localization team was working on this. The Zet Saber is going to be a weapon component later, but first, let's play the other minigame. It is called Balloon Fantasy. Sounds like what I do in bed. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist. Okay, so this minigame uses the buster. You have to shoot all of the red balloons with the buster, but don't shoot the blue balloons or you lose time. I like this minigame better because it's based on how fast you go instead of doing as well as you can within a limited amount of time. You see, 8 seconds, that wasn't really that hard at all, but they increase the number of balloons on each attempt, and you have to win this 4 times to get another item. Oh, and before anyone asks, you can in fact kick the balloons, which I just adore. You can kick a blue balloon out of the way if it's in your way. So yeah, not too hard. And the good news is, you can keep playing these minigames over and over, and you'll win lots and lots of money for each win. And I think if you play Balloon Fantasy over and over, you can actually win something like... What is it? Let's see, you get about 4,000 zenny for every win, and if you win in 8 seconds, that's like 24,000 zenny a minute. That's a very good grinding method if you're interested in grinding for money. So the Mystic Orb is another weapon component, but we don't have the other item we need for it, so let's go ahead and develop everything we can at the moment. So first up, the Cannon Kit makes the Powered Buster special weapon, which I'm not going to use yet. I'm going to get a lot of special weapons here, but I've planned all this out, and I intend to show all of them over the course of the playthrough. And the Bloom Bear parts made the Machine Buster, which is kind of an underpowered weapon, honestly. It doesn't have the word Buster in the name, I guess. So those 3 broken items we found by dumpster diving create, I kid you not, a vacuum cleaner. A vacuum cleaner, just beautiful. It's like Roll is channeling her other self from when she was a housekeeping robot in the original Mega Man. It's funny to think of it like that, I guess. So the safety helmet was used to make just a helmet. Well, at least Mega Man can get his classic look with a helmet now. I always wondered why he started without one. And we got a couple of other parts that made a Buster part, the machine gun. Let's see, if I remember correctly, I'll show what its stats are a little bit later, but I think it increases the Buster's energy? Or is it range? I forgot. So we're going to use the vacuum arm. The vacuum arm is a weapon that's obviously not intended for combat. If you go into battle with a vacuum cleaner, I don't know what you're doing. But maxing it out is actually very cheap. For just 1,000 Zenny, you can give it infinite ammo. What does the vacuum do, you ask? It sucks up all of those refractor shards to you instantly when they get scattered. Very easy if you find it annoying to pick up all of those refractors just by running around at them. And considering this game doesn't have DualShock support, you know, that might come in handy. I'm even going to use it in this next dungeon. But yeah, unless you are grinding for Zenny, the vacuum arm is not recommended. I wish you could do something cool, like suck enemies towards you, or maybe blow them away if you reverse the vacuum, or even suck in refractor shards and use them as a projectile. I don't know. But then again, this is Mega Man Legends, not Dustman Legends. So these NPCs have a couple of interesting things to say on occasion. I've heard that one of these NPCs was actually meant to have a much larger role in this game than he eventually ended up having, but no matter. So we've got our vacuum cleaner and we're going to head to the first subgate, which is located in the forest. There was this cave earlier. You might have noticed it as I was going to the mini dungeon, but apparently something's going on the other side. A tank, huh? Oh, watch where she runs. She's running towards the ruins. Okay. I don't know why she's running towards the ruins.
We've got to buy Miss Tron the time she needs to finish the robot. Okay, everybody, on your toes. Let's show Miss Tron what we can do.
So yeah, the tanks are here. And you can actually come in here a little bit earlier, like before the fight with the giant drill robot, and the gun turrets will be here, but the tanks won't, and the ruins will be blocked off.
I'll get you back to safety.
Oh yeah, we always need a way to run away from the very scary tanks and gun turrets. It's a good thing the car literally can't take damage.
A little bit more, Mega Man. We're almost there.
It makes me wonder if I should have brought the drill arm. This would have made this go by a lot quicker. But here you have it. The vacuum arm in action. It just sucks everything towards us instantly. Of course, this is with all of its stats maxed out. It costs a little more to increase its suction speed, but the range and energy are very cheap to upgrade. Yeah, especially since it costs just 1,000 Zenny to give this thing infinite ammo. Can you even call it ammo? Infinite energy. There we go. So you can see that the car is moving around. And we all know that Roll likes to step on Mega Man.
I'm sorry, Mega Man.
Or in this case, run him right over. I don't know why this is so funny. I just think it's funny that Roll is that bad a driver. Or Mega Man doesn't notice what's behind him. So you just have to blow up the tanks. I don't think you need to blow up all the gun turrets.
Mega Man, I'm so
Ouchies.
Sorry, Mega Man. I'm not used to driving yet.
Yeah, maybe it is kind of amusing to just see her apologize over and over for what's clearly intentional. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was busy with the gun turret. What were you saying? Roll. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, get out of the way! Ow!
I'm not used to driving yet.
Just gotta ram the gate down, huh? Well, there's the entrance to the ruins. And we could go... you can actually get inside the car at this point. This dungeon is now a fast travel point if you want to come back here quickly. So anyhow, we're just going to... where was the slot for our license? And did they really set up a keycard slot on the door? Oh, who knows? We don't even know who built these ruins or why, so I guess the little hut over the elevator shaft could have been built by men. Anyhow, here's a neat little trick you can do. You can actually jump on the control panel for the elevator, and if you jump diagonally at this wall, like I said, diagonal movement is faster than orthogonal movement, I guess. So if you jump at that wall, you can actually get up there before you're supposed to. And this area of the ruins is the same as the area where we did the wall clip earlier. In fact, you can skip all of those tanks if you do the wall clip and get into this area. You can just enter the ruins normally. And while normally that would cause all of the doors inside the story dungeon to be locked, if you talk to that lady in pink outside the cave, then that sets the flag to have all of the doors in the ruins be open for you. So that's one way you can skip the tanks. It's probably not even necessary from a speedrun standpoint. It certainly isn't from a casual standpoint, because those tanks aren't that difficult at all. Anyways, those two holes in the wall have about 10,000 Zenny in them, which is definitely a reason to come up here. It's like the quickest way to get some quick cash, as far as time costs are concerned. I watch speedruns of this game quite often, actually. It's where I get most of my tricks from. So I know a lot about speedrunning. I just haven't done it myself, because they're actually using the PSP re-release of this game in order to... Well, no, actually, for Legends 1, they aren't using the PSP re-releases. But they are using the... Are they using the Japanese version? I'll have to double check. Let's get to the story dungeon.
I'm picking up high energy readings from close by. It looks like it's a refractor. And a big one, too.
It doesn't look that big. It looks as big as the control panel in front of it.
Most high-level refractors are protected in some kind of shield. You'll have to look for the control console and deactivate the shield.
I just built a vacuum cleaner. Can't we just suck it out of its... Well, clearly we can't just jump past the shield. Can't we just suck it out of its little slot? I guess not. I guess we can't do that, even though all of the other refractors in the game, they just instantly get to you.
Probably hidden somewhere nearby. You'll have
I bet that shield is actually, like, airtight. Like an airtight container. But then again, it looked as if the top of the cylinder was open. So, like... I don't know. Maybe if you could jump high enough, you could just jump inside of the little cylinder and get the refractor. But how would you get out, I wonder? Oh well. So we have a new enemy type. This nest will spawn mosquito reaver bots, and the nest actually drops quite a bit of money, as you just saw. This is why you want the vacuum arm if you ever come in here, because destroying the nests, leaving the dungeon, and then coming back in makes the nest respawn. And they're a very good way of grinding Zenny if you want quick Zenny, and you don't want to do any minigames. I still think the minigames are probably faster at this point. Here we have another enemy type. This is... I forget what it's called. All of the Reaver bots have really dumb names. Like, all I know is that the first boss was called a Hanmaru doll. Yeah. So that jumping green Reaver bot can actually be very annoying because of how it moves. Anyhow, the gimmick of this first room is that you can shoot down the bridges in order to let you cross past them. And there are a couple of these nests with the mosquito Reaver bots, and that's the first key. You just have to walk over it and you pick it up. You can also skip the bridges if you jump diagonally, because I guess the designers, they didn't intend for you to jump diagonally through this game, so they never tested any of the cliffs or anything. Anyhow, a cool thing I figured out when I was playing through this section is that if you shoot the mosquito Reaver bots and they explode near the nest will actually take damage. Like, I have no idea if that was intentional either, but, maybe it was. I guess friendly fire is possible. Yeah, I guess friendly fire was possible in several other ruins too, so it makes sense to me. Those nests also don't have any collision detection themselves, unless they explode, in which case the explosion will have collision detection. You can still shoot at them, obviously. You can actually, like, drop a splash mine inside of the nest, have it explode, and then tumble dodge out of the nest to instantly collect all of the money, but that's if you aren't using the vacuum arm. That's the grenade kit. It makes a useless weapon, but we'll get it anyways.
Mega Man, I wasn't used to being a spotter, and you ended up getting lost underground for 3 days. Remember? We were lucky that Gramps came to help us. I don't know what I would have done if he hadn't been there.
Such fond memories of starving Mega Man underground for 3 days with no food. I'm starting to wonder if Roll has it out for Mega Man. Anyways, that green chest is rusted shut. I guess green is the color of rust in this universe. But you can drop it onto this conveyor belt and then start the conveyor belt moving. And you just have to wait for the chest to reach all the way into the bottom floor of this room, at which point it will ram right into that trash compactor and then pop out whatever was inside very conveniently. Oh, these enemies, by the way, they just float towards you and explode. You know, they're just kind of there. They don't even drop much. Might as well collect a little bit more money. And we just have to wait and wait and wait.
It looks like some kind of compactor
And
or
key number
something.
2 is inside.
Did you find
I
another
have
secret?
no idea why it didn't get destroyed along with the
One more to
chest,
go.
but
It's gotta be around
don't
here
question the
somewhere.
logic, don't question the logic. If you question the logic all day, then you'll never enjoy a video game ever again. Anyhow, you noticed earlier that I was kind of actually being careful about how many of those ice platforms I destroyed. Obviously, when you walk over them, they crumble, but they don't ever respawn unless you leave the room and come back. So by moving as I did, I actually saved a little bit of time by not having to... Okay, so this chest is actually very important. You have to pick up the spring set or you cannot complete the game. Yeah. It's a good thing it's just sitting right there, but, you know,
Doesn't
you never
look
know.
like
Somebody
there's
could
any big
make a
reason
mistake
here.
and miss it, I guess.
Still, you better stay on
Also,
your
I
toes.
kind of like watching the view here, because you can get a pretty good view of the floor down below from this cliff. You know, if you're into that kind of thing, I guess, looking at all of the polygons and the textures and the poor lighting because we're underground. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. So here's the most difficult puzzle ever. Push the 3 buttons and then walk right past the barrier. That's literally it. The only challenge there was that if you weren't quick in hitting the buttons, then one of them would come off before you were through the door. Anyhow, key number 3 is right behind those buttons and the barrier, and maybe they meant to do something more with the barrier there, but ran out of time. I don't know. So we just gotta go back to that console and lower the shield. All in all, not that bad a dungeon. It was an okay dungeon. There's not a lot of challenge to it, though. I suppose if you want challenge in Mega Man Legends, you would have to play the game on hard mode, which I will eventually. So yeah, 3 keys, 3 holes. Let's lower the shield. Wait, that's how big the refractor is in relation to Mega Man? It didn't look that big at all in the game. Whatever. Are we waiting for something? What is with Mega Man's face there?
Nothing's happening?
Yeah, big surprise. There actually isn't a boss or a trap or anything. It's kind of weird that they did that. Maybe they ran out of space on the disc and didn't want to put a boss here. I don't know. Oh yeah, I finally remembered to actually equip the helmet. I went through all of that without it. I didn't really need it. The helmet's actually not all that useful. I mean, it prevents you from getting hit in the head, but like that rarely actually comes up unless you're in a room with lots of cliffs and enemies. Next time we'll check out all the treasure we got.